Welcome. This is Storytelling presented by Active. We are having a conversation with intellectuals. Today we have the one and only Honorable Nona Snoddy. She is the Councilwoman from District 2. She's going to be our special guest today. I'm excited. Welcome to the platform, Sister Snoddy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. In this particular episode, what we're going to talk about is political awareness. And we are going to just kind of highlight some things that we feel like maybe need to be said in the community so that the community can get a better understanding of not just who you are, Sister Snoddy, but exactly what your mission is for the city of Longview in District 2. So I'm going to start out with service and community. Of course, service and community, this is the action of helping or doing work for someone. In the position that you're in the Councilwoman, tell me your take on service to the community.
Wow. Service to the community and just service in general, I think is something that you do, first of all, if you're a servant of God. That is what he did. I believe that as an elected official, we have a responsibility, first of all, to lead and to lead with service. Right. So I think that service is paramount. Right. That is the biggest part of being an elected official, right, is to be that of service.
I agree with that. Especially the part about being in the spirit of servitude. Because if you're going to be a councilwoman or elected official, then you have to have a spirit of wanting to serve others. Because you never know what the need in the community is going to be.
Yes.
And also with that, you have to be dedicated and work. Can you tell me a little bit about your work ethic and your dedication that you have shown, not just to this district, but to the city of Longview as a whole?
Well, let me tell you, I maintain a full-time job as an educator with Longview Independent School District. I've also come into the position of the family matriarch. Lost my mom 3 years ago. Those were big shoes to fill. So in maintaining the responsibilities I have as an elected official, not only that, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a provider. I have to care for my disabled brother. So my plate is full, but I do it and do what I do with gratitude and because I love doing it and doing it from my heart. So
yeah, that's cool. So it sounds like you've had a lot of transitions since you lost your mom, and because I know that's got to be a hard battle to still be in service for the people when you lost your mom. How were you able to merge those and still be successful with it?
You would honestly have to know my mom. My mom was a woman who I am today. I can be that too. So when God decided to take her, it didn't stop me from being who I am, because she had already instilled in me those things that I needed in order to keep going, to pick up the ball and to keep going. So pretty much the biggest compliment that I can get from anybody is that you remind me of your mom. You remind me of your mom, because that's who my mom was. She didn't have a lot, but she had everything, and she gave everything.
So you kind of inherited that whole spirit and essence of giving from her.
I'm passing that along to my girls as well,
right,
and to people that I come in contact with on a daily basis.
Right. Let's get to a little bit more of a deeper topic. We can't sugarcoat what we are in the United States of America. In these United States of America, we happen to be in Texas. Here in Texas, we happen to be in Longview. Well, all over the United States of America and all over the world, the black community, I can see a rise that is subsequently happening in undertone where we are coming into the better part of ourselves, but there's still a lot of work that we have to do. What can you offer and give to the black community, the present state that we in right here in Longview, that will help us to be better people? What do you see is something that we still lacking on, that we gotta get better on?
Honestly, leadership. Leadership matters. We're in a position now to where we have to be willing, as John Lewis said, to get into good trouble. I think where we're lacking is not having the voice and us not being able to empower one another. I'm only one person. I'm one voice, and I speak for people in my district, but I would be the one to encourage everybody to be empowered, to speak, to use your voice. especially with the way the current climate is
Yeah.
here in the United States. We have to be more vocal and we have to be intentional and not apologize for the things that we say and the things that we feel when we know they're right. As long as we're leading with our heart and God is ordering our steps, we have nothing to fear and nothing to worry about.
Right. Why do you think in the black community we have a problem lifting our voice and saying what we need to say? Do you still think that we are we still under the umbrella of, I hate to term it this way, but for no better way to say it, still under the umbrella of, oh, massa might hear?
Yeah.
What is...
Definitely. We've been taught and trained not to speak up, not to be vocal for fear of losing a job, losing an income, just the fear of loss. So we operate in that sense.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be in a position now, you have to be bold.
Yeah.
Everybody is not going to like what you have to say. Yeah. Everybody is not going to agree with what you say, but you have to stand bold and stand tall when you know you're doing it for the right reason. Yeah. But so definitely, people operate in the fear of, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose this, or I'm going to lose that, or this person may not like me, or I may hurt this person's feelings. But if you're doing it and you're doing it for the right reason, everything works out.
And you as the councilwoman, do you use your voice to speak for us? How do you handle being the voice that has to say for us, to be in their face, be the one to say, hey, this is what my people need?
Let me tell you, I honestly just found my voice, I would say within the last year. Okay. This is my second term on the council. And for the first 3 years, I sit and I learn. And I used former Councilwoman Cassia Williams was on the council at the time, but a very knowledgeable person. Yeah. So I used her, basically, she was my mentor. Yeah. Now, when she left the council to seek other positions, then it was time for me to do some growing up. Yeah. So there were times that I had to sit and learn, so I was quiet because I was in that learning curve. You know, you don't speak just to have something to say. You speak when you know it's something people need to hear and it's valuable. So I've had to learn that your voice is your power. Yeah. That is what God gave us this for a reason. And we have to be, as I said earlier, not afraid to use it. So it has been, honestly, I've gone through some barriers in having to speak up. Some people didn't like it and they told me. Yeah. They didn't like it, didn't like what I was saying, didn't like what I was doing, the fact that I was being a little bit too visible. You need to leave certain things alone. And my response to that was no. If it's going to better the city, if it's going to better the community, better us as human beings, then it is my job. Because when I leave this planet Earth, I want to leave knowing that I've done what I needed to do.
Right. And using our voice and being able to say the things that need to be said, especially here in America, in Texas, in Longview, wherever we are, we have to get comfortable with having the ugly conversations. We have to get comfortable, yes, and because we are a people that are surrounded by different races, creeds, and colors, we have to be in a position where I'm going to say what my truth is, you say what your truth is, and let's try to find an understanding. And so we got to have people that are on the council and in elected places that have a voice and are unafraid to stand up for the people. So I'm glad you found your voice. I'm glad you found your voice. And in that, whether you are reelected or not, what would you say to the people with the voice that you have found? Whether you're on the council or whether you're not on the council, you're still a mom, you're still a wife, you're still a church leader. What would you say with that voice?
I would say, honestly, that using your voice is the most important thing to do. Being involved is another important thing that we should all do. Having to go now through a campaign, as I said, I've gone unopposed my first term and my second term. This is my third and final term. It is so important that when I say we, I'm speaking mostly African Americans, we have to come together. We have to unite. We have to show a united front in order to get some things done that we're all wanting to get done. You know, whether I'm sitting on the council or I'm just sitting as anyone else is sitting, I see the same needs.
Absolutely.
You know, and the thing about it is learning this process. What I have learned is that no matter what, if I'm sitting with the council and I'm fighting tooth and nail to get certain things done within my district, I'm still only one voice and one vote.
Yeah.
So it takes us coming together collectively
Yeah.
in order to make a bigger noise.
Right.
And that's what it's about.
Right.
You know, they say the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
We got to do a lot more squeaky.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. How can there be any healing without the right medicine? Is one of the questions that we have today. How can there be any healing without the right medicine? And some of the antidote for healing that the black community definitely needs is compassion, pride, and respect. Is there any other qualities that you think we could add to the bowl of healing, the soup, chicken soup for the soul, for black people to say? What qualities would you throw in that pot?
You know what? When you start with compassion, pride, respect, you know, all of that is inclusive. And all that is built from your heart and the love that you have for mankind and for one another. That was my first campaign slogan.
Oh, okay.
It was CPR. Kind of talked about the city being like a body, okay? And just doing that comparison. And when part of the body is sick, we have to come up with that medicine to heal. So I felt like it was District 2 that was probably the weakest and the sickest part of the city. So the CPR, when you think of CPR, you think about what? You think about vitalizing something. So that was part of me in an attempt to make everybody aware that District 2 needs some revitalizing, that we have to do some things to start thriving again. I have no idea, and I thank God for that slogan, because when I got a phone call first in order to even consider being on the council, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
No idea. So the first person I consulted with was God. Lord, you know I don't know. So how do I reach the people? What do I come up with? I need a slogan. So that CPR and those three words, compassion, pride, and respect, was what God gave me in order to be able to get this thing started. So those three are paramount. We have to have love for one another. That is the compassion. We have to be proud. You know, we cannot let our demographics define who we are. Doesn't matter if you're from South Side or from District 2. You have to be proud about where you're from and who you are. And then that respect, we know that goes a long ways, no matter what. So those are three things that we definitely have to practice. If I had to throw anything else into that pot, I would say make sure that when you're practicing these three things, that you're doing it with your heart, with the love from your heart. So that would be the only thing that I would add to it.
I like that. I like that CPR. I like that.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I didn't know that's what you used your campaign and ran off of.
My very first one. That was it.
Okay. Well, I like that.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Keep circulating that. I like that CPR. I like that. There's a saying that he who is in the frame cannot see the picture. I like that. Explain a little bit to the listeners and the viewers that we have on your take on he who is in the frame cannot see the picture and how that applies to where we are dealing with this election.
To me, he who is in the frame, meaning that if you're the one that is in the picture, you probably are not going to see it from the perspective that everybody else is seeing it from. I believe that is what makes us unique, is our differences. You know, we talked about people having different ideas and different takes on things. Bringing that together is what makes us whole. So he being, if it was me that was in that frame and not being able to just visibly see from a different perspective what's happening, it would take others coming in and telling me their vision. That is why it is important that as an elected official, as a city council representative, that I get the voices. I hear from you, that you're not out saying things that there are problems and there are concerns that I'm not addressing. if you're not bringing them to me. If you're not bringing them to the picture frame and we're sitting at the table and we're talking about it, I have no idea of how to address those things. So, I would encourage people, if I fall short, and God knows we all do, bring that to the table. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do, because this is always all about us. I can't do any of this by myself. I am nothing more than a vessel that is being used. I'm honored to represent District 2, and I thank God for the opportunity, because I truly believe that God called me to do this. So I think that's important, is that we see one another, whether you're in the frame or outside of the frame looking in, but we have to see one another.
Right. And I always say you can't, people always have these grandiose ideas of how they can fix this and fix that, and they're on the outside of it. You have to be in the middle of something to be able to see what needs to be done. I can't just walk up on the thing and say, hey, this needs fixing, this needs fixing, this needs fixing, and tell that to someone that has been in that disrepair that whole entire time. And so one of the things that I do like about you, Sister Snoddy, is that, and this has nothing to do with you being a city council person, you've always been a person that people can touch.
Yes.
And when people can touch you, what I found out is that when people are able to touch other people, or they feel like people are touchable, they feel like you're right in there with them, and they're more likely to believe that you can help fix the problem than someone that's not touchable. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes.
And so I like to deal with people, and for me, politics has to be about people that you can touch, because politicians sell you a whole bunch of stuff, and they'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of times these positions are seek for clout or for some weird old fame or some weird limelight. And so when you got people that you can touch, then you're less likely to be dealing with someone that has just been a politician and not a person.
Yeah.
And so I do like that quality about you. The attitude, the interests, and goals. The attitude and interests of goals of District 2, what do you think that they are in your district?
It's when you're dealing with a community of people, it's like dealing with a family. So you're going to have mixed attitudes. And you learn to, just like you would within a family, you learn to adjust and to work on those things that you need to work on. And the job that I'm in now, I currently work at the alternative school. And I always say we have to tweak the kids a little bit to give them an attitude adjustment. So sometimes that's all that's needed, is an adjustment. So we have to get people to start thinking about their community in a more positive light, not to focus on the negative, or for every negative you come up with 5 positives. And that's is pretty much the way I try and frame my thoughts. I love my community. We don't have the big fancy homes. We don't have the greatest of everything. But what we do have, we have pride. And we want things to be better. There's always hope. There's always hope in this community. So that gives us an opportunity to grow and to do things. If I could sit in this seat, in the council seat, and snap my fingers, that would be great. Things would get done. And I'm sure the council people before me, would want to be able to do the same things. But there's always a process. Sometimes progress is slow, and it's painful sometimes. So I think in saying that attitudes are things that we deal with every day. You take that attitude and you turn it into something where it becomes gratitude. So, yeah.
I love that. What about the goals of District 2? What do you think some of the goals for District 2 are?
What I'd like to do is to, my slogan for this campaign is "Our journey continues." We still have work to do. We got some great things in place through the 2018 bond election. There are things that are occurring, some big things that are occurring. But, not even focusing on those big things, it's the little things, It's having to reach out and grab that kid who's never voted before. I talked to a gentleman the other day that's almost 60 years old who's never voted in his life, and I am looking forward to getting him registered. And he was excited about it. If I'm able to touch people like that, taking it one at a time, that is the greatest thing for me ever. That is one of the greatest accomplishments. So our goal as far as District 2, and I say our because I'm not in this thing by myself, is to continue to enhance our community, to continue to improve in the areas where we are weak, and to make ourselves known and to become more noticeable. I sometimes feel like we are the forgotten side of the city. There's a clear line in the sand, and we know where that division is. So it's time for us to cross over. Yeah, cross over into another territory to where they recognize and know who we are and what we stand for and what we want.
Right.
So.
And what we won't stand for.
And what we won't stand for. I love that.
Amen. Amen. Before politics, Sister Snoddy, you were in the community. Do you think you made a bigger impact in the community or being a politician?
I honestly have never identified myself as a politician. I mean, I went into this thing first and foremost saying, I'm not a politician, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just an individual that wants to do what's right. Yeah. And I've stuck with that throughout. I find myself correcting people when they say politician. Yeah, it's in the political arena. Yeah. But I'm going to be and hope to be a little different than any other politician because I honestly want to do what's right.
Amen. Amen. So for you, it's not a distinction between being a person in the community and a politician because you're one and the same.
Yes.
You're the same person whether I'm in politics. So, yeah. Gotcha.
And that's a crossover from my career to being on the city council. You're going to find, I'm going to be Aunt Nona wherever I go and whatever arena I'm in. Yeah. So that's who I am. Right. And I honestly can attribute that to my mom too because I don't have to change faces for anybody. For anybody. Right. So I sleep well at night.
Amen. Amen. And for the listeners and the viewers, they call Sister Snoddy Aunt Snoddy. You got 10 million nieces and nephews. Everybody calls you Aunt Snoddy. When I first met Bubba Poole, he was calling you Aunt Snoddy. I said that lady been dealing with kids for a long time, and that's an honor that I've noticed lately in the black community. They say, well, who's auntie or who's auntie, and so that has kind of lately here in the black community, maybe in the last year, become a symbol of like a badge, it lets you know folks, folks love you when they call you auntie.
They say that it's out of respect when they say Aunt Nona. And it never crosses my mind if I'm speaking to a biological niece or nephew. If they calling me Aunt Nona, it would be the same thing as if Bubba was calling me Aunt Nona. Right. It has that same heartfelt meaning to it.
Amen. Yeah. I can relate to that. I got lots of nieces and nephews that are not biologically my nieces and nephews, but I never think that they're not my nieces and nephews. They just, Aunt Tanya, and that's my folks. That's my folks. Tough question here, Sister Snoddy. What will happen if it happens that you're not reelected to the council? What do you think will happen if you lose your position? And not just in your personal life, what about how your effects you think it'll have on District 2?
I think about that, and I don't think of it in terms of losing. The only thing I could possibly lose is a title.
Come on,
because I've been in this position for a while. I'm not new to this, as I've said and stated earlier. Being of service is something I've practiced for a long time. It goes way back. So the only thing that the council allowed me to do was to put it more on a different platform of professionalism. But this is something that I've always done. So the only thing I would be able to lose is a title, not a position, because the position is something I've practiced. I have no plans to lose, And if for some reason the poll numbers end up differently than what I'm hoping for, I've already won. Right. I've already won because I've been doing this forever. And whether I'm in that seat or in this seat, I'm going to still do what I need to do for the community.
Still going to do what you need to do.
Yes.
I like that. I like that, Sister Snoddy. And a lot of politicians, I know you hate the word, and I'm using the word loosely, because if politicians would just be people, we wouldn't even have to use the word politician. What I like about the current state of politics is that we are getting to see people for who they truly are. The veil is getting a lot more harder to hold up these days.
Yes.
And that's due to prophecy, and God kind of set it up that way. So you're getting to see the real person these days in politics, and so I'm thankful for that. In your years of politics, and you are experienced, and like you say, you've been doing this, what would you recommend to a person that hasn't never voted, that don't really trust politics or politicians? What would you say to them to say, hey, I know where you stand, but this is what I think you need to do to get in the game? What would you say?
You know what? I've experienced that with one of my babies, and I call them my babies, one of my nieces / nephews who had never, ever voted before. And he came and we did a sit down and we talked about it. And I was telling him about the importance of using his voice and the importance of his vote. These are things that, whether you like it or not, these are things that have to be done if we ever want to see real change. And it was the fact that he respected me enough, okay? And I had presented in a way, just being true to who I am, that he voted for the first time. And he said, and that's where the hashtag comes up, vote because ain't Nona said so. Because my word was good enough. I showed him leadership matters, whether it started way back when. I've always been in that role and in that position and never took it on formally. It was just what you did out of love for a person. So I would tell anybody to make sure that is an action, and I'm having chills now because I can think of 2 or 3 who were adamant about, no, not going to vote, don't ever want to be involved in that. It's not going to change anything, but they got the opportunity to see that their vote did matter. So.
Amen. Well, I have enjoyed talking to you this afternoon, Councilman Snoddy. When is the election going to happen?
Election day is May 1st.
May 1st.
Early voting starts April 19th, I believe.
April 19th. So April 19th starts early voting. May 1st will be the actual vote date.
Right.
Make sure you guys go out, support.
Please do.
Sister Nona Snoddy. Is there anything, last remarks that you have for the people?
I would just like to say this is always great when we can come together, we can sit down, communicate, and talk about things that are important. Guys, I can be reached 903-431-1420. Hit me up if you got problems, if you got concerns, if you got issues, or if you just want to talk. Let's do that. I am, as she said, I am touchable. We can relate. So just reach out and let me know. Thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, this has been a conversation amongst intellectuals presented by Active. It has been sponsored by Councilwoman Nona Snoddy. Make sure that you go out and vote. She is the Councilwoman for District 2. Make sure you go out.
One other thing, I'm also number 1 on the ballot. So you will see my name first on the ballot.
Number 1 on the ballot.
Thank you.
Okay. Y'all make sure you go out. We got to take care of each other. Remember to love each other, whether it's politics or whether it's personal. Remember that we're all still people and that we have a bigger goal. It's a place that we're all trying to get to, whether it's a state of heaven, whether it's a state of bliss. The thing is, if we don't work together, we can't get there together. So remember to keep your head up. Remember we love you. Again, this is Active and the Storyteller presenting conversation amongst intellectuals. Until next time, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.